People. Que pasa, suck, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News. Now, people, it seems as if whenever these criminals in a jamrock is not trying to take us out, they're trying to rob us. They're trying to take everything out our eye. They are relentless on their thievery. Now, the other day I did a few videos about some of these financial banking institutions, and I said that they are turning over privileged information of customers to people working at some BPO centers, some credible, established BPO centers. I spoke about NCB and I spoke about Scotiabank. However, this thievery is not isolated to just those entities. It is pretty much widespread. It is a norm other than the exception. So I am going to give you a next example. On or about February 15th, an account holder at JMMB, he was robbed of everything in his account, his bank account. $46 million to be specific. There are now 5 to 6 people in custody for this thievery. The ages: male, 22, 25, unemployed. Warehouse worker, 25. 2 females, 28, 48, unemployed. 1 person, 21-year-old, that works at a well-established BPO center, call center. Here is the facts of the case. Between February 15th to February 25th, 10-day span, these criminals transferred $46 million on over 40 different transactions to 30 different people. Most of those persons living in St. Andrew South Division, pretty much mostly unemployed. In my estimation, them just contact anybody. Listen, you have a bank account, bill a bank account. We are going to wire transfer this money from this person's account, all $46 million, to 30 different people. The amounts were between $900,000 each transfer to $5 million in between. It could be different amounts. However, when it was all said and done, then pretty much clear the person's account in a 10-day. Now, based on what the Popo are saying, these persons are in custody and they are supposed to be interviewed with their lawyer, in the presence of their lawyer. So people, let's think about the facts, because we've heard the bank specialists on fraud come out and them say they are doing everything. Don't click, don't give any password, don't give any sorts of cookie, any sorts of pin to nobody. However, people, these criminals, they are very convincing. Them pretty much can sell ice to an Eskimo. So therefore, if you're not on top of your game, on your P's and Q's, you too can become a victim. However, here is where this is different. Persons involved, most significantly, the person that works at a well-established BPO call center. This person provided privileged information to the criminals. This information was used to change the security credential or features of this person's account. They then created an online banking profile. Using this online banking profile, them swindled the person of every single cent. $46 million plus in a 10 days. So people, I am asking this question. When we hear these bank experts on fraud speak, and them tell you say, if you don't give your password, if you don't give your PIN, if you don't click on the link in which you're going to be fished, you are usually safe. People, that is furthest from the truth. These BPO companies actually have that information. For that information to be given, this information has to be put into the system, the banking system. So therefore, if the people that have access to this information are criminal, they can pretty much wipe everybody clean. Based on what the victim said that all of this was done without his knowledge. He did not call anybody. Nobody called him. He did not give anybody any sorts of privilege or access to his account. However, his account was pretty much wiped clean. So how do they explain this? What is the bank going to do to prevent any further such things from happening to any other customers? People, pretty much we're at the mercy of these banks. Pretty much these banks realize that, listen, it is more financially viable for us not to have these brick and mortar bank facilities, not to hire actual people that are qualified, that are more credible to watch these people money. No, people, they give these to some sort of 21-year-old youngster in a some sort of BPO company that pretty much is selling it to any and everybody that is offering good money for your privileged information, for your confidential information. So people, at the end of the day, we have to ask the question, what are the banks going to do to stop this? Because people, like we see, it is as if the floodgate just let open and people are just victims waiting to be taken advantage of. Because obviously, whatever security measures that these banks, these financial institutions have, these criminals have a way of bypassing it. Point blank and period. So people, I want to ask the banks these questions. Isn't there any sorts of security measures put on these accounts wherein whenever there is unusual, a large amount of transaction in a small amount of time, specifically in a 10 days, where there is in excess of 40 transactions, meaning 4 transactions per day, going to 30 different accounts, in the amount of $900,000 to $5 million. Don't these banks, well-known financial institution, JMMB, Scotia, NCB, and all of these, don't they send any sorts of alerts? Because people all me know, in America, if X amount of charges are made on your credit card or even taken from your bank account, the bank is going to alert you and say, did you make these charges? Are you familiar with these transactions? If not, alert the bank, call the bank ASAP. JMMB allowed a set of individuals to make 40 different transactions to 30 different people in a 10-day period and no sorts of resistance. People, this is ridiculous. Point blank and period. Now people, continuing on the theme of fraud or thievery, I am going to say something and listen very carefully. If it sounds too good to be true, more than likely it is. And people, legendary reggae singer Marcia Griffiths, she was defrauded by a man, the man's name Mr. Roy Morgan, of in excess of 5 million Jamaican dollars, specific equivalents, $30,000 US and also 250,000 $250,000 Jamaican dollars. Now people, this occurred back in June 21st of 2021, maybe about a year ago. Based on information, it is said that the legendary singer, she was approached and she was offered a 500,000 US mortgage loan for a house, $500,000. However, for her to qualify for this $500,000 loan, she had to pay fees and stamp duty of 30,000 US dollars plus 250,000 Jamaican dollars. So people, that is how we got to the $500,000. Sorry, the $5 million. However, whenever the lady realized that, listen, some sort of foolishness are going on, something doesn't sound quite right, she contacted the fraud squad. When the fraud squad did their investigation, they realized that this man and his partner has no sort of mortgage company. This man and his partner have no sort of house to sell. This man and his partner is pretty much a scam, a sham. So therefore they arrested him. He went to the St. Andrew Parish Court the other day and he was remanded, kept in jail until the 8th of September 2022. No sorts of bail. Here is the thing. Last year this man was featured on the news station TVJ, I think. He had just done 12 years. He was given a 12-year sentence back in 2011. I guess he did less than 12 years and he came out. For what, people? For fraud. He came out, he was up to his old self. He was not remorseful. He did not rehabilitate, none at all. As a matter of fact, if there was any sort of change, it would have been a change for the worse because we see him come out. Now people, I don't know what type of circumstances he met Mrs. Griffiths, or how he convinced her, or who was the go-between that say yeah, because people, let's face it, Jamaican people, full of scammery, full of thievery, full of two-foot pussery. So therefore, they will know that this lady have money and come up with some sort of plan, some sort of scheme, conspiracy, and tell her, say, them know a little man we can do all of this. People, next thing I am telling you, don't deal with any sorts of little man. It always ends up costing you more. So anyways, people, the man come out after a 12-year bid, and then him come back and do the same thing. When he went to court, his lawyer had the audacity to tell the judge and the court system, say, listen, even though he was charged before, even though he was sentenced to 12 years, he appealed. However, there was some sort of foul-up and the appeal was not granted or listened to. People, that is cock and bull story. Because the truth and the fact is that everybody has an appeal. Once you have not exhausted that appeal, you are eligible. The court cannot foul up. You have to foul up. That means that you did not file. The only sort of foul up would have been your lawyer. And people, this lawyer also has a foul mouth of talking BS in the court because he or she would know that this person is a criminal from day one. This person is going to be a criminal until the day that he loses his life. And hopefully, he can spend the rest of his natural, worthless life in the prison system because there is where he belongs. However, Mrs. Griffiths should have been much, much smarter. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, that is my views on the whole thing as it pertains to that. And like I say, it is just my views and opinion. It is not the gospel. Your views and opinion can be respectfully different from mine. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Bless up.